It starts with something small, too small for us to see. So small, we don't even know it's there. From the moment we are conceived, they start to grow. They multiply. Soon there are hundreds, thousands. They all connect with each other. We don't realize it, but these tiny connections, they form something larger. They form the way we perceive things. Everything. From a chair to a chisel, from a TV to a tooth, from love to loss, from pleasure to pain. These tiny cells, these neurons, pick up information from all around us and send it to our control room, our brain, where we eventually make sense of everything that we see, feel, touch, smell, and hear. Our five senses govern the way we understand our world, and each is important in its own way. Other than physical objects, our senses serve as windows to more subtle complex forces, like longing, anger, and attraction. What and who we find attractive depends on how our basic senses perceive and understand information.
Oh my god, you know what, babe? Your voice is so beautiful. I bet you look gorgeous in person.
An individual's voice plays a big part in attraction. Research has shown that from simply hearing someone's voice, a listener can infer reproductive status, can estimate age, height and weight, and even socio-economic and emotional statuses of the person who is speaking.
You got an address? Alright.
A 2002 study showed that people are able to match a speaker's voice with a photograph 75% of the time. We thought it would be more interesting to look at what happens to the other 25%. Although early scientific research denied that humans process attraction through olfaction, the discovery of the vomeronasal gland inside the human nose opened up minds and nostrils to the possibility of smell playing a large role in attraction. People prefer scents that vary greatly from their own, so what someone might perceive as a biochemical bouquet could be a sweaty cloud of sulfur to another. What we can observe is that despite the importance of individual senses in perceiving what is attractive to us, these senses don't seem to work very well in isolation. Sure, photographs provide visual cues that could tell us a lot about how attracted we are to someone, but is that really enough to get the whole picture? To be able to differentiate between what is sexy and what is sickening? Hi, I'm Samantha. How often are you touching your date? What is the angle of your feet? How close is she leaning into you? Has she placed her hands on your shoulders? Yes, the art of touch has been shown to increase our likelihood of finding a partner if all the cards have been played right. Play by all the rules, gently touch her arm, don't rub, stroke his hair, don't pinch his cheeks. And our sense of touch can help us not having to wake up cuddling a pillow instead of a person. But beyond the simple sensation, how we perceive touch can actually make us wish we had chosen the pillow instead. Yes, sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste all contribute towards how we initially perceive people. But these do not seem to work very well in isolation. Rather, it is an integration of all five that allows us to perceive the bigger picture, adding a fourth dimension, if you will, to our sensory and perceptual experience. Just as the eyes, ears, nose, and throat are physically connected, there exists a relationship between our senses in how holistically we view things, including attraction. But our senses are not always faithful to us. Stressors like fatigue and exhaustion, and substances like alcohol and drugs can change our perceptual experience from seemingly small, indiscernible ways to more noticeable, obvious ones. Steele and Josephs conducted a study in 1990 on how alcohol causes reduced somatosensory sensitivity, short-sightedness, and reduced inhibition. But is it really necessary to read journal articles to know what happens when our senses don't serve us the way they usually do? But just because our senses change under conditions like intoxication, does that really take us away from reality? Or is it simply a world being viewed under a different lens? What is reality? How subjective...
Stop!
What?
Just stop! Don't.
What's
Don't.
wrong? What?
No, enough. We're talking about perception and you're talking about reality. I don't care what reality is, it's perception.
Okay, I'm just trying to... Oh,
No!
okay. Healthy human beings all see, hear, touch, taste, and smell in the same way, using the same sensory organs as everyone else.
Hey, is everything alright?
I just feel rejected because I'm ugly.
That's nothing to do. You look beautiful to me. Of course. Like a selfie.
But perception is what's truly individual, and it is the subjectivity of perception that uniquely differentiates one person from another. How we see others, or rather sight, is not the only sense that differs from person to person. There are those that find Chanel No. 5 putrid. There are people who hated the Avengers, and legend has it that there are some who consider Justin Bieber to be a musician. Even taste differs from person to person. In The Objectivity of Tastes and Tasting, Barry Smith says that in matters of taste, opinion is sovereign. There is no such thing as right or wrong. But subjectivity of the senses not only determines how we view others, but greatly influences our self-perception too. What do we see when we look in a mirror? What do we think when someone asks us about ourselves? And how does it differ from what we actually say out loud? Is our self-perception really representative of how we actually are?
Bro, I gotta tell you, man. I think this girl, she's really the one. She's the most incredible girl I've ever met. She's so beautiful.
Bro, from what I heard, she sounds amazing.
Tell me, man, can you believe some guy actually rejected her?
Such a jerk for doing that, man.
Listen, I really want you to meet her. When you're one of my closest friends, I really want you to meet her.
Bro, let's meet. When you're free.
Tomorrow lunch, Ken?
Sure, tomorrow. Bring up.
Yes, we perceive attraction and beauty subjectively. But is it really wrong for us to think differently? To what extent are we pressurized to think a certain way, to see in a certain light? What are the consequences if we don't? We all look at the same things but see them differently. Sensation is usually constant, but perception never is. Perceiving one sense at a time may not be enough for us to fully gauge what we feel we are attracted to or repulsed by. Our senses under circumstance can deceive us, altering our understanding of reality. But sometimes our senses align. The nose, eyes, ears, skin and tongue all send a giant thumbs up to the brain. And that is when attraction can be a force as strong as any other. All our senses contribute equally when it comes to deciding what we find attractive. But just because our senses tell us that someone is perfect for us, is that really all we need to decide? Is sensation and perception simply enough for us to truly understand the stimuli around us? Are they truly the only tools we need? No. Sometimes the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and our senses may not be enough to give us the knowledge we need to see the bigger picture. Because what we perceive isn't always what we receive.